Alright, so we are going to hope that my presentation here, that I'm using my Kindle page turner to completely work okay, and my little mic that I bought for $20 at Walmart works for this, okay? But here we go, we're gonna give it a shot. We're gonna go over my 2025 end of year book tag. These are just some various questions that I found from various different other creators, and I just compiled a list of 10 that I wanted to do. I tried not to make the answers repetitive, but I digress. What you get was what you get, okay? A little bit of my stats before we get started. I managed to somehow, I don't know how I did it working 2 jobs. I managed to read 88 books this year. Just finished number 88 on the last day of the year. I was so freaking proud of myself. It's insane. I am so proud of myself. And so, yeah, we're just going to go through these book tags. And yeah. First, my favorite book of the year. My all-time favorite book of the year was Secret Haven by Catherine Cowles. It was the last book in her Sparrow Falls series, and it was just the most beautiful, perfect ending. If you've read the series, you know that the couple in Secret Haven, they're like past and like not necessarily their past, I guess, but just their story and like the fact that they were going to be the last couple. You just got little bits and pieces of their relationship through the whole first part of the series, and then their book was the last book of the series, and it was so beautifully done. There was so much heartache and pain and just, it was just beautiful. My top read of the year, 6-star read, infinite stars. I loved it so much. And then an honorable mention for the year is Rewind It Back by Liz Tomford. This is also the last book in the series. Last book in the Windy City series. It is one of my all-time favorite series, and the last book follows Rewind It Back, I guess I should say. Rewind It Back follows Rio, and before the book came out, we didn't know who like the FMC's name was or anything. Like, Liz was not releasing anything about it. You just know that it was finally his story, and yeah. And so it ended up being about Rio and Hallie. Come to find out, it was second chance, childhood friends to lovers. Something happened when they fell in love when they were younger. Something happened, they broke up, and now I don't even remember what the age gap is, but many years later, and they're randomly end up being neighbors, and you watch them fall in love again. And while it wasn't my favorite book of the series, I still loved it so much. And just these 2 books were just chef's kiss, my favorite books of the year. I recommend these 2 books. Not necessarily Rewind It Back, but just these 2. What to say? I recommend these 2 series with my whole heart. I loved them so much. Okay, next question. I jabbered on probably entirely way too long with that one. Next question. What do we got? My least favorite book of the year. At first, when I saw this question, I'm like, what was my least favorite book of the year? And then I sat down and went through all the books that I had read this year, all 88 of them. And as soon as I saw this one, I'm like, yep, this one was my least favorite of the year. I think I gave it 2 stars. I want to say something like that. It was so bad. It was, I'm a part of a book club in my town with some of my, now my friends, some of the girls that I know. We have a book club. This was like our, I think, like February book pick class in 2025 or something like that. It was horrible. It was so bad. The characters were so unlikable. The story was horrible. And I kind of feel bad saying it because Joe Hill, the author of the book, is actually Stephen King's son. I love Stephen King. I don't like Joe Hill. I read one of his books, being Heart-Shaped Box, and I have no interest in reading any others. It was absolutely horrible. It was so bad. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say about this. Don't recommend it. Read if you want, I guess, but I didn't like it. And I think if I remember correctly, our book club was really divided. Like, some of us liked it, some of us didn't like it. I didn't like it. Don't recommend. Next question. Book that surprised you. So this is recent. I just started the Harry Potter series for the first time. So I am 24 years old. Just turned 24 in December. 24 years old, never read Harry Potter before in my life. Was never actually really interested in reading Harry Potter. Till the first book was, so Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone was my December book club book in book club. And at first I'm like, I'm not going to read it. I'm just going to skip it. We'll just skip this book. Wouldn't be the first time I've skipped a book of the month, okay? And then after book club, our meeting was on the 20th of December. Christmas Eve, so 4 days later, I'm like, you know what? Let's give this a shot, see if we like it. Within the first 2 chapters, I was obsessed. So yeah, 24 years old, reading Harry Potter for the first time. I'm as shocked as you are. It was a big, very popular series when I was in elementary school and middle school. It was the it series, and I just avoided it like the plague and have ever since. And then, got an itch, and I'm like, you know what? Let's actually give it a shot. I'm obsessed. I'm currently on book 3. We're currently reading Prisoner of Azkaban. So yeah, my most surprising book this year was Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. I'm so excited to finish the series, and then I want to read Hermione. I don't know what. I've heard of various different titles: Manacled, Alchemized, Secrets and Masks, and many others, and I want to get into it. I don't know if it'll be for me, but we're going to find out eventually. I know what my this year's going to look like. Next question. Book from a new author. So I have 2. So if you have been following my Instagram or anything this year, you know that I have read many Catherine Cowles books this year. I read the first Catherine Cowles book in, I think it was the summer, early summer. I read her Lost and Found series, which the first book is Whispers of You. And I read that first book and I became obsessed. I've read 3 of her series this year. And I think I only have 2 other of her series to go. I have the first book in her new series that she's starting this year pre-ordered already. I am so freaking excited. I am obsessed with her. She is the best romantic suspense author I have found. All of her books are romantic romantic suspense, and they are done just beautifully, and I freaking love them. I think I've read 4 of her series. No, that's a lie. 3 of her series now. I think there was only 1 or 2 books that I didn't like and that's 16-ish books. I think there's only been 2 of them that I didn't like, and that's it. I'm obsessed. In fact, one of my favorite books of the year was a Catherine Cowles book, Secret Haven. Anyways, the other one is Done and Dusted by Lila Sage. I had never read this series before. I love cowboy romance. Love it. So I picked up, it's a bit of a big series, and so I picked it up. I read, literally, at the time I read it, Wild and Wrangled, the last book of the series, wasn't out yet. I read the first 3 books in a weekend. I read a book a day. I'm a slow freaking reader, and I work 2 jobs. To read a book a day is high praise from me. Okay. I read the whole series, the first 3 books in the series in a weekend. Absolutely fabulous. 10 out of 10. I wish she had more books. I pre-ordered Wild and Wrangled. I read it when it came out. I also pre-ordered Soul Searching, or read it when it came out as well. Probably I would say Wild and Wrangled's my least favorite book of hers so far, but I've loved them all. So good. Highly recommend Lila Sage if you like cowboy romances, and they're super short and quick. Okay, not necessarily short, but they're super quick and easy to read, and I freaking love them. So definitely read Lila Sage and Catherine Cowles. Pretty please. I'm obsessed. Next question. Underrated book. Okay, so this was a book club book as well. I don't remember what month. I think it was like the summer, like June or July or something. It was one of our book club books. It was another one that I was just gonna skip, but I'm like, you know what? I like a good mystery, thriller, crime. Um, I devoured it and I freaking absolutely loved it, and I see literally nobody ever talk about it. It is Middle Tide by Sarah Crouch. It is like, so it's about this, if I remember correctly, he's like an author or a wannabe author or something, works for, I want to say like the newspaper or something. I don't quite remember. I've slept since I read it. But this, I want to say a local doctor in town gets murdered near like the marsh. It takes place like down in the south. She gets murdered, and everybody pins it on this like hermit guy that lives kind of in a secluded place in town near the marsh. Everybody pins it on him. He's like in his, I want to say like 20s if I remember correctly. I don't quite remember. It, like I said, I've slept since I read it. But so the local cops in town are like trying to find out, did he actually do it? If not, who did it? What happened? You get you get the cops' point of view, you get the guy that they're trying to frame, like pin it on, his point of view, you get like, if I remember correctly, you get like journal entries or something from like the victim. If I remember correctly, I could very well be wrong on that. You get like point of views from her. And then there's another girl that she lives on the reservation, the local like nearby reservation, and they're kind of like the guy that's I don't even remember his name. God, I probably should have looked at summaries of all these books I was going to talk about before I made this video. I digress. Anyways, she's friends with the guy that's trying to, be pinned guilty for this murder. And you watch them fall in love and you watch this murder case unfold, and oh, I couldn't have guessed the ending if I tried. Okay, that's a lie. I did kind of guess the ending a little bit, but I didn't think it was going to go down how it went down. But I did guess the like plot twist at the end just a little. But either way, it was it was fabulous. One of my favorite, definitely my favorite mystery thriller of the year. I've read some bad ones, and so that's a whole nother story. And I never see anybody talk about it, and it is Sarah Crouch's debut book. This is her first book she's written. Oh, it was fabulous. I think I gave it like a 4.5 stars or something. Oh, it was so good. One of my top reads of the year. I loved it so much. She has another book coming out, I think like next week. I think it's like next week. And I'm so excited for it. I already have it up like pre-ordered. So excited. This book was so good. If you read one mystery thriller from me, it's this one. Please read this one. So good. Okay, rambled enough about that one. Next question. Okay. I tried my very, very, very hardest not to have this series be literally every answer to every question on this list, but I started off 2025 by reading Throne of Glass, and it literally changed my life. It's fabulous. 5 stars. Infinite Reads, one of my favorite series of the year. So I was never really much of a fantasy reader. Like, I dabbled every once in a while. But then I had just kept seeing Throne of Glass everywhere, and everybody's like, it's so good, it's so good. And so I bought it, and I started off 2025. Actually, I started it at the end of 2024 and finished it in like February or March of 2025. Again, I'm a slow reader and these books are large. So my definite fave of a new genre is Throne of Glass for fantasy. I have since then definitely bridged out and dipped my toes into the water a little bit more fantasy. I am currently reading, obviously, Harry Potter. I've read other fantasy series. Some I've liked, some not so much. You'll see more in a minute. But yeah, I tried not to make Throne of Glass literally every single answer to every single question on this list, but we narrowed it down, and it's definitely my new favorite of fantasy. It was amazing, phenomenal, life changing. I even have a tattoo for it. So, yeah. Okay, next question. Okay, series that I've started but I haven't finished. It took me a minute to answer this question because there's been ones that I've started and not finished because I didn't like it, and ones that I've started and not finished that I did like, just got like distracted or decided to read something else. We went with that option, that we read it, we liked it, didn't finish it because we got distracted by something else. So my big one is my Hannah Swenson mystery series. I love this series. The first book is like a god tier book for me. I've read it, I don't even know how many times. I read it the first time when I was in like high school, and I have reread the first book so many times. The first one is Chocolate Chip Cookie Murder, and I have reread it I don't know how many times, but I've never so it's a big O series. There's like 30 plus books in the series, and I've never made it past like the third book till this past year. I actually didn't reread the first one, surprisingly. I just started the second one and just started reading, and I think I'm on 13 now. And so, yeah, I love this series. It's not going to be for everyone. It is very repetitive, but to me, it just gives ultimate coziness, and it feels just so cozy, and it makes me feel almost at home, and it's just so comforting. Like, I don't know. I love it. I adore this series so much, and I am excited to continue the series. And yeah, we're on like 13, I think. So that is definitely one that I've started but not finished. And then honorable mention is Ice Planet Barbarians. This one was another like shocking read this year, honestly, because I did not think blue alien smut would be for me. But we read the first one, I want to say it was like August or something. Maybe September. I think it was after I came back from my Texas vacation. Pretty sure it was. It was shortly after Texas. Or maybe it was before. I honestly don't know. Somewhere around the fall time, I think. Or summer. I don't really know. Anyways, we read the first book and I'm like, that was actually really good. Shockingly. I actually really enjoyed it. And so I'm excited to continue the series. I only read the first one, and then the little like each book has like a little, I think, okay, I don't know every book, but I know the first like 10 books or something, I think, have like little novellas that come after them. And so we read the first book and we read the novella, and I'm excited to read the rest of the series. So yeah, two series that I've started but not finished, but do plan on continuing. Okay, next. Longest book of the year. This was the only option. I try my hardest not to read long books, they scare me. And so, therefore, this was the longest book I read. It was borderline 1,000 pages. I think it was like 9 something. Could be wrong. I could pull it off the shelf over there. It's somewhere hidden behind Crescent City that you probably can't see. Anyways, I could pull it off and look, but I don't know. But I know it was the longest book I read this year. Was it fantastic and destroyed me? Absolutely. Do I recommend it? Absolutely. Longest book this year. Next question. Book you DNF'd. So, I have a horrible habit of, I will like start a book and get distracted by something else. and then read that one and never come back to it. But I don't necessarily count those as DNFs, okay? But one book that I remember very vaguely this year, not vaguely, very vividly, I guess you would say, of actually not liking it and stopping reading it, not because I got distracted, but because I really didn't like the book, and that is Tame the Heart by Ava Hunter. It was a cowboy romance. I want to say I picked it up shortly after I read the Rebel Blue Ranch series by Lila Sage because I loved that series and I just wanted more cowboys and I just needed more cowboys. And I saw this one recommended a few times and I'm like, ooh, we'll do it. It's on Kindle Unlimited. It was horrible. It was so bad. I think I only made it like 30% into it and I'm like, you know what? Life's too short to be reading books I'm not liking. So I DNF'd the bitch. And will I come back to it? Never. No, I have no plans. It was bad. Read it if you want. I didn't like it, wasn't for me. Continuing on, next question. Most disappointing books this year. Okay, so I have two answers for this one, as you can see. First one is Guild by Raven Kennedy, book 1 in the Plated Prisoners series. So this was actually a book club book. One of my book club books. It was actually the month I hosted. That's totally besides the point. I keep seeing everywhere that this series was recommended for people who liked Throne of Glass, who loved Throne of Glass, and wanted that same vibe and everything. And so I'm like, oh, perfect. I freaking love Throne of Glass, and I would love another series that, is high on the pedestal like that. And so I'm like, we'll do it. I picked it for book club. It was horrible. Okay, that's a lie. It wasn't horrible. I just didn't like it. There were a few parts that I'm like, ooh, that's okay. I did even tear up a little bit at the end when a certain character, spoiler alert, died. But it wasn't good. It wasn't Throne of Glass. Obviously it's not going to be Throne of Glass, but it didn't measure up to Throne of Glass. It didn't compare. Nothing. I don't know if possibly it gets better as the series goes on, but I didn't like the first book enough to find out. So therefore, most disappointing book of the year, Guild by Raven Kennedy. Very sad about that one. And then another one. So I dabble in mystery thrillers, crime, the goes every once in a while, and sometimes I just get a craving for it, and I just need to read a mystery thriller in that genre. And I was doing TikTok research, as one does, because it's where all my recommendations come from. And I kept seeing the one by John Mars. And not just the one, but like just John Mars in general. That he's who you go to. They're phenomenal. Best of the genre that they read. I didn't like it. I had such high hopes for it, and I didn't like it. It was boring. Not even this. No, it was boring. It was just like, I don't know. I honestly, the only reason I didn't DNF it was because I wanted to know what happened. Yeah, I didn't like it, but I still wanted to know what happened. It wasn't very good. I have others that could also possibly be put on this list, but we narrowed it down to these two. Yeah, I was so sad that either of these books were not good. I didn't like them, and it was depressing. Enough of that. Next question. Was that the last question? I don't think it was. That's a lie. Hold on. Maybe my thingy died. I talked for too long. Hold on. Uno momento. Damn. I was right. I was wrong. That was the last question. Okay. There was 10 questions about 2025. It was a successful year. I am extremely, extremely proud of myself for how many books I read this year. And those are some favorites, some very much the least favorites. And yeah, I can't wait to see what I read in 2026. Okay? Love you. Bye.